Hello, life path number 2s. I hope you guys are doing great. Welcome to Sapphire Spider Oracle channel. If it's your first time listening, you came in on a good series. I'm doing something new. I wanted to do some readings based off of our life path numbers, and so I'm just getting started, and you guys are, of course, life path number 2 if you're watching this. If you don't know how to find your life path number, the details for that are in the video description below. Basically add up all the digits of your birthday, keep adding until you get down to 1 digit, and that is your life path number. So let's dive in. Let's see what we got going on. The card's ready for you. And let's talk about your life path. This could include past, present, and future information. It's talking about the balance of a fulfilled life for you. Number 2, you need, that's the thing about a life path number 2. The number 2 is always going to imply that there is 2 sides, 2 halves, 2 things to balance overall in your life in many areas. This one in particular is talking about your need for home and stability, and it's also talking about your need for distance and travel and far off places. So you crave those things in life. You crave adventure, and yet you very much feel right at home. It's kind of like on the mainland, where you grew up, where you currently live, whatever you call home, right? You need this grounded energy, this stable energy, this orderly, linear energy, just as much as you need this more free-flowing energy that is represented by these ships and this landscape and this far-off, kind of exotic-looking city in the background. It was showing me all the gold leaf and pattern in the sky, and it was saying how, like, those distant places, those travels, those adventures, those are the embellishments of life. But you very much need your stable home life as well. So one of the things that you might struggle with personally in your life path is, what is home? Where to call home? What is home to you? Because you feel at home in both ways, traveling and being abroad, or having a stable place to retreat to at the end of the night. So that's where it was saying that, you know, these distant places, these trips, this travel is the embellishment of life. But something that you do really need on your life path, number 2s, is a grounded, steady existence, somewhere stable, something that has a bit of order to it. And then treat that other part of yourself as all that embellishment in life. I said, and go for it. Like, this is a big, broad, open sky. Like, go for it. Go for all the travels. Go for all that stuff. But very much, like, half of the card is evenly split for groundedness. The other half of the card is evenly split for all these other ideas. So you need both, a half and half. This 9 of Pentacles is usually a Virgo energy card. And I was going to say a 9 of anything is almost always a Virgo energy card. That's a very grounded, earthy energy, very practical. Wants one on either side now. This finger in the, I did the life path number 1 before. This one's buzzing now on this card. They're definitely speaking to me today. Okay, there's something there. It was singing to me, over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house we go. It's just there's no grandmother in here. It was kind of going over to this figure, but it was very much pointing out to me how this baby is sitting all alone. 6 of Cups is a good energy card. It's just, there's something here about that. Okay, there we go. Again, with that duality energy, it was saying the song, over the river and to the woods to grandmother's house we go. Very much that travel, right? So over the river and through the woods, there's that embellished sky again, that really ornate, trippy gold leaf sky. But there's no grandmother present here. There's no other person or animal or adult present here. This child is sitting very much on their own and being very content. This particular image, I believe, from Botticelli, I'm sure is a Christ child, or if not, it's probably like John the Baptist, or, you know, some other little baby that they painted in all the Renaissance paintings. But that's the general symbolism here, right? There's this sweetness and innocence and calmness and serenity, and yet there is this just a tinge of this loneliness aspect. You, from childhood, have experienced both the excitement and joy of getting to visit family and friends, and again, that travel, going to see other people, do other things. But there's very much there's a large portion of that childhood, I think, that was spent alone. And there's a lot of good things in that alone energy. That's what I'm saying. That's where it becomes very like Buddha-like and Christ child-like. Like, this child is chilling in this film, right? Very serene and very content. But we all know, like, if you follow a Christ story or a Buddha story, there's always those things that were, they're alone because they either had to let go of people along their life path, or they had to walk away from everything, or they're meant to be kind of on this lonely path. There's moments in their paths where they have to face things alone, and that's some of this energy that's coming off of this card. And that's where it's like, it's not a sad energy, but it is this deep recognition energy of, there's a lot of things that you do on your own. There's a lot of ways you were raised, which are very much where you were independent and on your own. But there is this song and this presence of family and people around. So they're not visible in this card right now, but there are people and things around. So again, with that duality, having family and friends, spending a lot of time alone, needing that grounded home time, again, with this kind of solitary figure, but also needing all that adventure and going out into the world. Three of Cups. I'm sitting with this card because every time I look at this card, I swear they printed the artwork weird, y'all, because like it's like stretched weird. And that's where with the Three of Cups, you can get this idea of kind of like partying, like a little bit of drunkenness, like tipsy energy, like the world's spinning a little bit. That's why I'm trying to see if that's what it wants me to read into this, because I always just see this card and that's like the first thing it does. as I just drank from my teacup. Okay, so this is Venus in the center. And these are essentially, they're not necessarily angels like in Greek or Roman terminology. Almost like muses, spirits, sprites kind of deal. And they've come to attend her and check on her and everything. Oh, okay, there we go. Thank you, Spirit. Ah, yeah. Okay. Going back to that balance of things then. All right. Yeah, okay. Whew, it took a minute. There we go. It clicked though. Been talking about the balance of these things. In this card, it's more about like, you're very much in recognition that you're on this earth, living an earthly experience, and therefore you're willing to enjoy this earthly experience. That's where the Three of Cups and the drinking stuff came in and everything. Right, a little bit of indulgence, a little bit of love, a little bit of romance, and things like that. Having a general good time, making friends, just existing in life and doing what humans do on this earthly plane without getting super religious or about those actions and those things, right? That's what's really the energy coming off of this card. Because we were talking a little bit about that Christ-like energy and Buddha energy over here. There's still very much this, like, you know what? I'm a human being, YOLO, like you only live once type deal. I'm going to enjoy myself and I'm not going to worry so much about all of those heavier religious things yet. You got these angels around, or these sprites, or these beings, and that's what I'm saying. It looks a little like the world is bending and moving, and that's where there is this other half of you that recognizes that, thank you, Spirit, I just talked, woo, that sentence just came through. It's like, this earthly realm is not the only realm that exists here. There are other realms, and you know that there are interactions and times that these other beings and realms interact with you. They come talk to you, they speak to you. You're very much in touch with these other realms in the spiritual world while recognizing your place on this earthly plane. Also, check this out, 369. Like, that's what I mean. And you got these numerologies, like numerology. That's why we're doing these life path numbers. Like, that's a huge thing too. That's the magic numbers of manifestation, 369. Thank you. It's like you're combining the earthly with the spiritual in such a way that's like, right? Like it's really talking about like that balance and the code of life. Like, you understand that 369 are multiples, and you understand the numerology and the mathematics behind it, but then you also understand the spiritual nature of it. So it's like tools. You use it like, you use the earthly realm as tools to reach these more embellished, enlightened states of life, is kind of what it's saying. And that's where the balance comes in of the life path number 2. You're able to work very well between those two realms, those two aspects of an overall human experience. Ooh, I just got lightheaded in here too. Like, there's some energy moving for y'all, that's for sure. Okay, this card right here is kind of poking out. Let's see, can you see that? For the most part. So you got the 8 of Wands here. Interesting. So with the 8 of Wands, the first thing it actually showed me were all the little oranges back here in the tree, and that took me back to some art history lessons. which the oranges in a lot of the Botticelli paintings are related to the Medici family, who was a huge rich family in Italy at the time, and that was their symbol, that was their family crest in essence. So they're painted into a ton of these Botticelli Renaissance paintings. So what it really gave to me was like, this child is this same child, angel figure, and the arrows that it's shooting are like patrons, right? Patrons of paintings, supportive arrows for others, communication. With this Eight of Wands, that's where it's like it's like you're firing off messages of support throughout your life. You are a patron to others. You are very much a messenger energy in a way. You're also very much an action energy because you're the one firing the arrows. An Eight of Wands can be about a blend of activities, having many things going on at once. It can also be about, sometimes people refer to this as like the arrows of love, like you're shooting off communications, messages, letters, little signs of love. And we can get that very much with like the Cupid symbolism, right? But what was really giving more to me was the idea that this was a painting sponsored by the Medici family, and with the oranges all around this figure, it's like you're a sponsor, a patron of all these many activities, all these different people, sending out messages of support for others. And that's part of your role, is what it wants to say as a life path number 2, is you're meant to be someone who spreads that love, spreads those messages, spreads that support to others. Interesting. It just said as above, so below as well for these two cards. And it's like, nice. It was saying how like on the earthly plane, very much representing this figure, but in a spiritual sense, you're more like this, right? You're the one sending off the arrows and sending off these messages and the support to everyone else. I was going to say this one here, and then I was going to do that. So with this Ace of Pentacles under the Nine of Pentacles, it was almost like this figure was standing there with their cloak open so that these angels can like drop this pentacle into the robe. But then it also gave it to me like these aren't angels, they're fairies, and like the fairies took one of the coins as like a playful prank and they're dancing around with it. And that's where it kind of is giving me the message yet again. I was talking about like that dual realm of like living an earthly existence, but knowing these spiritual beings are around you. It was talking about the Fae and how the Fae might be a large part of your path. They might literally interact with you. So if you're standing there kind of looking around for something, like you misplaced something, maybe the Fae just took it for a while. It was saying maybe you should consider leaving offerings for the Fae, or you should consider interacting with these beings that you sense around you, because they would like to interact with you. They also have gifts to bring you. And that's the thing, is like, you're a supporter of all these other people. Well, they help support you. from time to time. They bring you little things from time to time, and you recognize this and you know it. So it's kind of talking about how what you might need to do at this point in time in your life path is open up even more to this concept of there are other beings and other realms to interact with, not just this earthly realm. And you don't have to travel long distances for this stuff. This is something that's right beneath your feet, right in earth, right in the ground, right around you. They're right here with you all the time. Whew, yeah. Oh, man, that high priestess just talked to me. Yes, like I can tell that's part of your message. Oh, we're going to get over there. With this 2 of Cups coming out under this 3 of Cups. Nice, I like that. It did say, and there was a little bit of that coming off this card, but I didn't want to like full on go there just because I see that as a blanket interpretation sometimes for 3 Cups. It was talking about how it goes from 3 people in this card down to 2 people in this card. It was saying that you might struggle at some points in your life path of choosing between people, choosing between love, lovers, choosing a more sober lifestyle, choosing something that is of a more natural balance for you. And that's where we come to the 2, right? A 2 of Cups is always a love card. And if it's not a love card, it's a relationship card, an equal balance card, an equal give and take card. And you are the life path number 2. There are some things earlier on in your life path where you were living life experience. That's the thing. It doesn't want to say you were making bad choices. It was just you were living life experience, and that kind of pulls you in 2 different directions. There's a figure over here. There's a figure over here. If this is like a group of people who are supposed to be kind of like lovers or like partying and kind of like hanging out or getting it on, that's cool for a while, right? And then you essentially discover that that's what I mean. She looked like the image looks twisted. There's something wrong with that life path. It's not quite what you need. There's something off about it. And then look at these straight trees in the back. Look how much orderly, like even the trees back here are swaying, right? And that's where with this 2 of Cups, you've taken the extra person out of the equation. So maybe you struggled with like some cheating habits and stuff like that. You know, I'm not calling anybody out. I'm just saying. you took extra people out of the equation, right? Narrowed it down to these people who look very intimate, like they're whispering to each other, maybe even like sharing little secrets, but look how much more like stable and grounded they look. Look how straight these trees are compared to this 3 of Cups. Look at, it's like they are literally almost kissing. And there's just something about the stability and order of this 2 of Cups that is different from this kind of wonky, off-kilter 3 of Cups. And that's where you've naturally, over time in your life path, decided this is a better balance for you. Love with one other person, equalness, stability, order, something that just flows and functions with you and makes sense. So before I move to these outer cards, you're very much an independent energy life path too, but you are also equally a supporter of others. You very much need a stable, grounded home life, but you very much crave distant travels and all of these other adventurous things in life. Appreciating both the small things, the real things, and kind of those little synchronicities it just said, those little instances where you know that these other realms are crossing and there's something here on the other side. You have gained life experience and it has been joyful and it has been good, but there's also been something within that was off kilter. it was, you know, eye-opening. It showed you these other beings. It showed you these other ways of life. It showed you these other experiences. And now that you've had that experience, you're like, cool, I'm good. And that's where it kind of like coalesces into further on your life path, or now you at least want something more orderly and organized, and definitely things that you love, things that aren't just fun, things that you love, and give back that same loving energy to you. It just gave this to me like hands, okay? So in your right hand, life path number 2, you got the Ace of Swords. Anytime you pull the Ace of Swords out of a deck, and I love this definition, it's from the Rider-Waite deck, it says an Ace of Swords is a powerful force in both love and hate, or any similar matters. Ooh, it just gave me Sword in the Stone, though. Some King Arthur energy, right? It's like you can cut the tree down, clear your path. You can be very forceful and powerful with your right hand in achieving both good and bad things. Like you make a decision and like you cut the tree down, right? It's done. But there's also this bit of like this kind of noble energy coming off of it with the King Arthur Sword in the Stone motif, which is very much like, right, you have the power to pick up the sword and do the things out of love or out of other extreme emotions that you need to do. So on the positive note, someone that's very much going after their decisions in life, it said putting themselves first. And look, there's those patron oranges again, right? So putting yourself first. In your right hand, through your actions, you're always putting yourself first. And that's where this card does talk about like the exaltation of ego. So you might, in one hand, be possibly a little egotistical in how you express yourself and how you make these choices and how you clear and cut your path. And that's where you might learn later that you want to like bring it down a little bit, right? It's like there's a struggle for the balance in the first part, and then it's like a reveal of the good things and the stability and the magic on the second part. That's kind of what I'm getting off of this too. It's like there are some really powerful good things that you are capable of doing, and then there's also this ability to very easily go into those egoic energies where you're always putting yourself first. So remember, the actions and the choices and the decisions you make, if they're not serving well for others as well, then yes, you might be doing a little bit of some ego trip power. But otherwise, this is a great card to pull, just saying that you're very capable of making big, clear moves in your life. Especially with this 2 of Cups being over here, it's like you're very capable of doing those big things in life, especially when they are made out of love, decisions made out of love, paths cleared out of love. When they're paths cleared out of ego, it's a different meaning. In your left hand, you have the High Priestess, which is the number 2. And I love that you have 2 2s in here. The High Priestess is often very much, sorry, just talk to me. And my right hand got hot. My right hand just got hot on this one. The High Priestess she receives visions and wisdom. And that's where it was talking to me of like Hildegard, Saint Hildegard, I think that's her name. She was a nun. Usually nuns aren't the ones that go down in history for having visions and all these things and prophecies with God. Usually it's the monks. And because of course, as soon as a woman has a vision, she's a, evil witch and like everything like that. She's one of the few. She's one of the few that is highly recognized for her work. So anyway, getting back to the point. When you receive a vision, when you receive a visitation from a being, from an angel, from anything along those lines. When you receive a dream, right, that's solely for you. No one else can see those things except for you. They were received within, and that is the feminine energy of the high priestess. You, as a life path number 2, have this energy in your left hand. You receive these things from spirit. You receive visions and signs, or you have a feminine support. And left hand, that's a marriage hand, right? Like, that's the whole thing. And that's the feminine hand. So literally, like, if this is not solely your energy, then this is talking about the person that stands beside you, your counterpart, and realizing that you might need one of those. Especially because, like, a sword, it's obviously very phallic and masculine, right? It's like, that's what I mean. It's like the masculine and feminine energies. There's this balance of above and below, of earth realm and spirit realm, of masculine and feminine, of right and left. Oh, it just gave me some Joan of Arc energy. It was just saying, like, you receive the visions, very much like a Joan of Arc energy, and then you pick up the sword and go do what you need to do with those things. And that's where it just gave me this flow of, like, this energy comes down through the high priestess, through this energy, and then goes up, right? And goes out. It's definitely this, like, two-sided thing, this mirror reflection balance thing. But with this high priestess here on the left, she had visions and dreams, and she wrote them down, and she had, like, these whole gospels then later on that were published. She was, like, one of the few people who didn't get completely ridiculed or, like, burned at the stake or, like, all this stuff. She was respected, and she was known for her visions and for her work. And that's kind of one of those things that's coming through. There's this very spiritual feminine energy of secrets and inner wisdom and knowledge that accompanies you on this life path. And she's barefoot as well, walking around outside in the flowers. Joan of Arc always went to a tree. There's a lot of Joan of Arc and Hildegard and that kind of inspirational feminine energy of someone that receives visions and leads or directs others on quests and things like that. And as it pertains to a counterpart, such as having a husband or a wife, then that's where, like, you're very capable of doing your life path on your own, of serving only yourself. But that's not what your purpose is, life path number 2. And I'm about to wrap this up because this is about as long as I went with life path number 1. You can do things on your own, but you're meant to support others. You can stay here at home, but you're also meant to go explore the world, interact with these beings in these other realms, recognize that there is more than just this single earthly realm to explore. There's life beyond all of this. You were and are meant to have this earthly human experience, but at some point you're going to thin things out, very much like pulling weeds out of a garden. You're going to thin things out, and you're going to come to that moment of true essence, your life path number, the 2 cups, the order, the balance, the love, the foundation that is healthy and allows you to continue on it doesn't want to say straight path as in, like, you're sober and clean and you're godly, and it just, your life path's going to even out, smooth out. The bumps in the road are going to, right? You have to make sure that you're not only serving yourself, that you are serving others, because that is written here in your life path. You have to make sure you're not withholding all of the secrets and wisdom that you receive, because you are meant to share it with others. And you're meant to find that balance of everything in between the 2 halves of life, the 2 paths of life. Thank you. One last note from Spirit. I've been seeing that word for like 3 days. It's been talking to me. Like, this energy has been talking to me for real. You are exploring the veil, essentially, between the earthly realms and that spirit realm, between all the veil that exists between all things in the concepts of duality. That is part of your main life path, is moving across that veil and doing those things. Working in the spiritual plane and the earth plane, discovering the earth plane and the spiritual plane, getting to experience both sides of the coins, all walks of life. and bringing it into cohesive balance, which I think essentially leads to just an overall stable way of life with people around you that support you, your spiritual connection, and a healthy human experience. And that's what I got for you, pile 2, life path number 2. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope to get back to you guys with some more readings in the future. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all that you see fit. And I hope you guys enjoyed. See you around. Thanks.